So part of the reason, or a big part of the reason for my trip here was to understand why people leave, what point they leave, what, and to understand the problems that they've had, but also to understand what they're coming back to, because the solution, what Global Anthem is to help them, to help everybody, to help them when they've been forced to flee because of war, famine, poverty, abuse. But also what happens when they try to get home. So I've driven north of Kyiv. I've passed the point where the Russians were stopped at Irpin, and I've kept going. I've passed through quite a few of the villages that we all saw on the news, and I've stopped at this little tiny place. And what attracted me was there was just a huge pile of burnt out, rusted, damaged cars and buildings, and there was a scrapyard. And maybe me, I'd go up and say hello and sort of do a little bit of chatting and finding out. And the guys there pointed out where the tanks were, where the soldiers were, the damaged buildings. I took a couple of pictures which I'll add in of what was a nice apartment block with one of those little outdoor gyms and kids swings and everything. So they warned me not to go over the other side of the road because there's mines, but if I did want to, I must stay on the tank and truck tracks. So that's what I am. So behind me is, you can't see it, it's trenches. I'm not going to take photos of what there is burning, it stinks, it absolutely stinks. It's just awful. This is what anybody from any country is going to have to return to. And I'm looking at it now, and there is plastic bottles, there is waste everywhere. Yeah, I know we're war and bad, but the cleanup of this is just, it's unbelievable. How are you going to clean this country up? And that's a country that's got money and resources. Like I said, this track that I'm on, they told me not to go off it, not go past the trenches, not go past where the trucks are, which is, the truck tracks running right to left. Behind me, trench lines, there's places where tanks were, stuff like this. There's mines here. Yeah. How are they going to live? So I've learned a lot on this trip, and it's going to help me massively with what I'm trying to do. I know I'm not my usual cheerful, happy self, because I cannot understand how people are going to come back and rebuild lives here. And there is so much evidence of rebuilding on the drive up this sort of main road. Houses being repaired, buildings being repaired. I was going to do this video at a bus stop, and the bus stop is full of bullet holes, and I just didn't think it's, So for me, what I've learned on this trip, because unfortunately I can't go to Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia. I can't go to any of those places because it's not safe. It really isn't safe. And here perhaps is, but it's not. And that's quite the relevant thing, that Kyiv is beautiful, but coming here I drove through nice retail areas, beautiful home areas, little tiny villages. I'm only 15-20k from the centre of Kyiv, and I'm standing where the front lines were. You just can't get over the the waste, the plastic, the bottles, the empty packets, the burnt out stuff. Right, so that's enough of that. So what am I going to use with this? What am I going to do with what I've learned? So there's got to be more work done on helping people once they're able or ready or feel safe enough to return. That's number one. Number two is understanding now the point when people leave and how desperate they are. So, at what point somebody from, Sudan, from, because that's happening there, or Syria or Iran, at what point do they leave, and what can I do as a designer to help them more? What can I put in place? There's a lot to learn, and there's a lot of reflection that needs going. And because Global Anthem was created for people, for the end user, for it was developed by by being around people, but it was developed by being around people in the safe environment of York St John University. And I'm not Kate Adie. I am no brave journalist. I am going nowhere near where there's anywhere. This is about as brave as I get, quite frankly. But I think we can do a little bit more. I think we can apply, in the interview with Arcady yesterday, and I'll come back to that, but there was a lot of talking about how creative design can be used to challenge things. I'm glad I've gone off reservation a bit this morning. I'm a little bit shocked by what I'm seeing. If you can see behind, there's trenches. There's bullet casings everywhere. There's, again, everywhere you look, there's just plastic bottles, packets, empty alcohol back. It's just kind of understand how you're going to clean this up. Anyway, I am going to use what I've learned here. I am going to apply it, and I'm going to apply it for everybody. I'm not here because I'm in Ukraine because this is the safest place I could get to. I don't have the courage to go to the Middle Eastern countries or African countries. I really don't. I'm quite happy to admit that. But we can use what we've learned here and apply it to help more. Okay, so I've rambled on for 8 minutes. So that's the end. Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody.